going to discuss infant security and what we do here in the birthing inn to keep our babies safe. Security starts at birth, so we're going to band that baby with identifying bracelets. There's going to be one for the wrist, one for the ankle of the baby, one for the mother, and one for a significant other, whoever she chooses. We also are going to put a security cube on that baby. And the things to note with the security cube, it should get placed on in labor and delivery. If a baby is born here in the Natural Birth Center, we need to remember that they are not banded with the security cube until they come over to the birthing inn. The system does not work in this building. So I'm reminding labor nurses to be sure and tell the FCC nurse, hey, we would need to remember the security cube when we get over here. So we remember that. To put these on, they thread in. When I'm actually placing it on a baby, if I'm ready to do it immediately, I thread both sides together. I find that easiest. Lots of nurses do just one. You could do either way as you're placing the cube on. You just don't want to do it too far in advance because it can auto-enroll for the baby. So you place it around the baby's ankle. You're going to pull it snugly. You want it tight enough that you can move it if you need to, but it's not going to spin on its own. And then I pull the two pieces together to click them. You then want to remove your plastic tabs because these can cut into baby's skin, so it's really important to make sure that these come off. Our security cube system works by continually noting the presence of the baby there. It's connected to our computer system. There's a number of reasons why these will alarm, and you are probably used to hearing some frequent alarms. Most often it's that the bracelet is too loose. That often happens at delivery, that we put it on too loose, and babies lose weight while they're here in the hospital. They can lose up to 10% of their birth weight, so cubes become loose at that time. If you need to adjust it, it needs to be done through the Safe Place system. Then you open the tabs up for a few seconds, leave it apart, readjust, and reclamp. If you've tried that a couple times, it doesn't work, you may need to replace the band. Sometimes you need to replace the cube. These cubes we should check when you first get them just to make sure that they're intact, that they're functioning properly, because they can click and make some noises if they're not working properly. They do break. What we've got here is our poster today, is information about our safety policy, our infant security policy. There's some Safe Place cube tips, which you've got a handout that is going to explain a lot of those nice things about the Safe Place system, and then profile of a typical infant abductor. They've just had the service technician for Safe Place come. They've evaluated a little bit, and we're trying to eliminate overhead alarms that are excessive. So it's no longer hopefully going to alarm if there's a loose band overhead, but it will still alarm at the Safe Place system itself. So the secretary is still going to make phone calls to have people adjust cubes and check on babies. If it's a true red alarm, a cut band, a door alarm, it's a full pink alert for everybody, and we all just need to be aware of what our roles are during a pink alert. They vary a little bit between us, but that baby is the full priority of everybody. So I'm reminding labor nurses to be sure and have somebody check standing at all exits to make sure the exits to their unit are covered, down by 61, in the hallway by antepartum, at the triage area there. They should check which babies they still have in rooms and let the charge nurse or the FCC charge nurse be aware which babies are there. For nurses in the NICU and the nursery, someone has to always remain with the babies, but we want to also know which babies are there and communicate that to the charge nurse. FCC nurses then should spread, as well as any other available nurses, and count babies room to room. One thing to remember with checking babies if they're in event of an alarm system is the other alarm we got worried about is a fire alarm. If a fire alarm is going off, even if it's not a direct fire that we're concerned about, the exits will open. We need to have the ability to leave the building if there were an emergency, but we want to make sure no one's using that as a way to escape with a baby. So watch people leaving our facility with bags, large bags. You always have the right to ask to stop and inspect. If you see somebody with a bag, your safety is important. Note what they're wearing, but it's okay to stop and ask them, at least to make them aware that you're watching them and concerned with them. So it's a job of everyone to watch what we're doing. We will be doing some mock drills, so we need to be aware of that. Typical infant abductors are generally a woman of childbearing age, generally a little bit overweight. They're usually in a relationship. They're not single and unmarried. They either have a boyfriend or they're married. They're trying to keep that relationship together, and usually producing a baby is what they think will kind of do that for them. There's somebody who usually lives locally in the area. They'll check multiple hospitals, check their maternity units, their security, type environments. They might impersonate a nurse, they might act like they know what's going on in the medical world and seem very knowledgeable. That's about it. We'll have the test that I can go through with you, test answers, see if you have any further questions.